the find a mentor, I was really surprised to see that at the end. But then I also know you had a relationship with Jordan Peterson. You still do, I'm sure. Tell us why that chapter and tell us about mentorship.
Yeah, I did not expect to write this chapter. This was not in my original outline at all. And as I got closer to the end of the book, I realized that there were things that I was saying in the previous chapters, the previous 8 chapters that were echoing Jordan in some ways. My book is more political than 12 Rules, meaning, his book is more about self-help. But in many ways, I'm extrapolating the political realities once you start doing those things to fix your life, to stand up straight with your shoulders back. And as I was understanding that, I thought, a lot of people would love to know what that year and a half was like, to be on tour with the preeminent public thinker of our time. And I did learn lessons. And, it's like, I call him my mentor, but it's not that we sat down like a Jedi Knight and a Padawan learner and he gave me lessons. He didn't take me out to Dagobah and I didn't get on his back and swing on ropes. I tried that. He wasn't interested. It wasn't that. Really what it was mentorship, I think, by osmosis. I spent a tremendous amount of time on the road, in cars, in planes, in hotels, at dinners, with a man who was changing the world. And how was he changing the world? Well, he was changing the world by his thoughts and his actions, and by expressing the views that he felt were true. He started organizing the world. He talks about chaos and order, and he was adding order to the world. I think he's still, he's dealing with some stuff personally right now, but his words are still adding order to the world, a world that is very much in chaos right now. So that's really why I wrote the chapter, and I tell some fun stories about what it was like to be on the road with him. And I mentioned the story that I told you earlier about Douglas Murray's apartment with Maajid Nawaz, and that, Jordan, there was a cat there, and one of his rules is, if you see a cat on the street, you should pet it. And in effect, what that rule is that, stop and smell the roses. Yeah. And we went to this dinner at Douglas's place, and we have a great night. It's like 4 hours in, and I had drank quite a bit, and I'm pretty drunk, and I'm looking there, and there's the cat, and I'm going, man, Jordan has not pet this cat. And if he doesn't pet this cat, is the whole thing BS? Like, what's going on here? How's he not going to pet this cat? And we're putting on our jackets, getting ready to walk out the door, and the cat's bed is right by the door. Jordan's very, very tall and lanky and thin, as you know. It's probably about 6'2". He gets down into into Indian style position, basically into the cat's bed, and sits there and just strokes the cat as we're all saying goodbye. And I thought, all right, he's the real deal. The guy is no BS. And, that's obviously a bit of a joke, but it's also like, I never saw him break one of the rules. He tried to put his best foot forward into the world. And I think the more that we all do that, and, I'm trying to do it right now, and we all have brief moments in life where you do it well, and then you have moments where you don't do it well. But I think the more that we all do it, the more we can add to the order and take away the chaos.
Yeah, it was impressive for me to meet him, and he just seemed like a really congruent guy, like you said, with what he spoke about. Douglas Murray actually had moderated the conversation the night before. I hadn't really heard of him before, and I actually didn't know much about him because he just moderated. But when he came here in the studio, maybe about 6 months ago for that recent book tour, he blew me away. I was like, wow, yeah, again, proud to be British, knowing that Douglas Murray.
It's funny, I had Douglas Murray sort of over my shoulder the entire time I was writing, because as I was writing, I was like, Douglas is such a great writer. What would he think about this? So I think I made him proud. I hope so.
It's good to have mentors like that. But I was also watching Jordan go on this tear, and, he went 2 years like nonstop. And I remember talking to him when he was here. I'm like, your schedule was just back to back to back to back, and I never saw him take a break. Do you think he just gave too much? And is he doing okay? And I know everyone is expecting him back and wishing him well and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so I have to give you the answer that I give everybody on this, which is I can't reveal anything that is not public, obviously. I saw him a few months ago. I will tell you that we emailed last week. He's getting better. It's going to take some time. He's finishing up the next book. Just give him some time. He will get there. I don't really want to specifically comment on why I think it happened. Look, he was always upfront about taking this anti-anxiety medication. He would talk about it on stage. So it's not like he was, secretly taking pills on the side or something like that. Although it was nobody's public knowledge. It was for nobody's knowledge other than his own. He was upfront about taking this. We found out in the middle of the tour that his wife had what they thought was terminal cancer. I was with him when he got the phone call. I think we were in Des Moines, Iowa. And yet he kept going and going and going. The guy's not perfect. He upped some of the medication, which he shouldn't have done. And it caused sort of a reverse reaction where you take some of these anti-anxiety things, and then when you take too many or you cross a threshold, it actually causes an anxious reaction for an anti-anxiety medication. It's sort of counterintuitive, but that's what it does. He will get better. He will get better. He will be back, and the world could use him.